Welcome into our studio, everyone. Today I have something to show you that I think will be useful if you are a teacher or if you're a parent or anyone who wants to set up for wet on wet painting. You can do it in this manner to make it really convenient for you. This is how I do it for the students. Right here, you're going to see that I have that tray of wet on wet colors. I have some basic colors. These are the colors that I get for the students. That would be carmine red, vermilion red, lemon yellow, gold yellow. Prussian blue is my favorite blue. Now, if you buy these sets from Amazon or someplace like that, you're going to probably get a different blue. You're going to get an ultramarine blue inside the sets. They usually come in packs of 5. You can always purchase the other color, the Prussian blue, separately. I highly recommend this for a true blue. And then, of course, you're going to need some sort of a board. This is tempered masonite, which comes in 4 by 8 sheets and can be cut to any size. I highly recommend setting up 2 buckets of water. One will be strictly for washing off the brush when it's yellow or gold, and the other can be used for reds and blues and any other color. That way the students don't have to constantly get new water. It's important that there be a really good rag for each student to work with. A number of brush sizes are also very useful, but everything can be done with this large 1-inch brush. So right over here you see I have a tray which I fill up with water. I soak the paper in this. Please refer to my video on how to soak the paper if you really want to learn how to do it properly, because a wet pack, as it is called in the art world, is very important to the wet on wet process. After it has been soaked, you'll be able to just take the paper and it'll be perfectly ready to put on the board. So you'll want to hold the paper from opposite corners so it doesn't get too floppy, and then just lay it on your board and you'll be ready to paint. Notice here how I've set up for a right-handed person. That's because if you're washing your brushes in here or here, the rag is very handy for right-handed. And over here, the person will be grabbing their paints and using them, holding them with their left hand. If you were left-handed or working with a left-handed student or artist, then you would want to just flip this around, put the paints on the right side and the water buckets and rag on the left side. Let's talk about the paper for a moment, because as you can see, it's laying just perfectly flat for me. And that is because it has been soaked in a wet pack. I described this on the video, how to soak the wet on wet paper. But this is useful for being able to paint without taping it down. Many watercolor artists will stretch their paper with watercolor tape, and that is really good for doing veil painting and many other techniques. If you've prepared the paper correctly, you won't have any of those annoying bubbles or ripples. And I want to tell you that there are many reasons that you would wet the paper. The color moves around very beautifully, as you will see in a moment. But also, paper often comes with sizing to keep it stiff or semi-stiff as it's being shipped. And this sizing is a lot like you might have starch in a collar of a shirt. Once we've wet this, we've thoroughly wet the paper, it breaks down the sizing and makes the paper a bit more pliable. Got it all set up. I might as well do a painting. I'm actually going to start today using red, and I'm just going to let the red move in a sort of circular pattern but not too regular. Just wherever it wants to be. And since the paper is really wet, it's going to really blossom or bloom the color. I'm going to wash off my brush and get the vermilion. This is going to be a really warm picture. I'm going to sweep that in and actually see how rosy we can make it by just watering it down. And moving it all around the red, right into the red. It can touch, fine. Now I'm going to wash off the brush and dry the brush and use this rather refined tip for my wipe and swipe method. And I'm just going to wipe where I see the shapes. I'm going to wash it and dry it and lift off where I see the shapes. Now I'm going to take this dry brush that I have and tilt the red and get down in there into the pigment of the carmine. Rotate the jar a little bit. And I'm going to accentuate all of those contrasts. So I see one here, here, and here, out here too. And as you can see, I am creating flowers with just the red and basically the white. I'll leave a little bit of space, not too much though, just a little bit of space. And then we're going to come back again with that wet brush, dry it off, and again begin to sculpt the movements that say to us, convoluting flower, spiraling flower, ever working its way inwards in its gesture. Sort of a twisting inwards. And this one, which we could say is more on its side, still moving into a center. And finally, let's wash off the brush now in that clean water that we had. And we're going to have the gold yellow. And just sweep the gold yellow into the vermilion red, which was sort of a rosy. It's going to really warm it up. And we'll get all the spaces. inside. And if you want, at this point, you could even move your clips because you'll notice that you need to get over there. But you may end up cutting off the composition. It depends. And there you have it, a very simple flower painting. I went on for a few minutes without you and finished what I thought should be done to this picture. If you'd like to see the whole process, please review other wet on wet paintings and you'll know how I went from that watery to this.